Hey, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick. In this video, I want to talk about reparations, okay, and what should be done with the money from reparations, or just getting us into a mind frame and talking more extensively about what if and what's next, okay? Just to get us into that mind frame, we could be talking about anything at any given time, right? Why not conversations like these, okay? Productive conversations one way or another. Now, to jump right into it. So, first of all, you ask yourself, how do you distinguish who's who, right? That's for a whole nother video, okay? But once you distinguish who's who, okay, now how do you pay these people back? What, do you just give them some lump sum of money? These are questions that you really got to ask yourself to you know, to in order to really bring things into fruition. Okay. Now, you have to vividly visualize things. Okay, and have a legit plan. Okay, on what you would do. Now, would you just give all of them a certain amount of money? How does that work? If you do that, will people know what to do with the money to make it productive? You know what I mean? Will they just spend the money frivolously and get things that will not benefit them in the future and in the long run, okay? And in turn will not put the people back in position and in a position to take care of themselves, to take care of their future for themselves and their descendants, okay, and their children and grandchildren. All right, these are the questions you got to ask yourself. Now, um, what I would think is for people who have very little financial education to begin with, you know what I mean? Giving them a lump sum of money may not help. People who may not have the right mentality, giving them a lump sum of money may not help. Okay, it may help in the short term, but it won't help in the long term and really um, getting a real solution and having a real solution to a problem and really healing a people, if that makes sense, and putting them on a trajectory to becoming the best version of themselves individually and collectively, okay, as a group. Um, so that probably wouldn't work. Just giving them a lump sum of money with no direction, not working on their mentality and things like that. Now, a lot of that has to do with things that we're going through right now, and that it has to be honed in on is mental health. Okay, we have to do these things professionally, meaning if you need to seek mental health help professionally, you need to do that. You need to be doing it amongst family and friends, okay? Because we do need to heal psychologically and spiritually as a people as well, okay? So these things are already put into place, and people are already starting to do this, which is a good thing, okay? And once you get that mentality right, that heart right, that spirit right, okay, working on getting relationships right and things like that, becoming better individuals and having better relationships with friends, family, the community, okay, then we can move on, okay, once that foundation is set. Okay, now, when it comes to money, no, I don't think people need a certain amount of money in their bank account to do what without any direction, any guidance. What I would say is just like how it was, you know what I mean, when we first had got out of slavery. Supposedly it's supposed to have been 40 acres and a mule, right? That's the most important thing, the land. You need the land. You know what I mean? The land and the resources that you can get from the land so you can take care of yourself. That's another thing. Um, just giving people money in a society where they have no real economic power, you know what I mean? Other than just to spend, just be consumers, but no economic power in the sense of production, commerce, and things like that. You know what I mean? And controlling the money and things of that nature. So the thing is, what you have to do, and I'm sorry, I might have just dropped that thought, but yeah. So you don't just give them money, you know what I mean? But if you give them land with the resources, then that's different. So I would say personally, neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Neighborhoods where people, and this is I'm trying to be general as possible, so we won't have to make this any longer than it has to be. So I'm trying to condense these things, but just like most things I say, they can always be built on, and you can do further research or think further about what I'm saying. Okay, into details. But like I said, land and homes, okay, a foundation, because one of the first things we need is for the pressure and the stress to be taken off the average person, because we got so much psychological, mental, and spiritual healing that has to be done, that people need to be taken out of the realm of survival, hustle and bustle. That's what they always had us in. That's part of our slavery, and that's part of people's mental slavery, and why people can't get ahead as much as they would like to in this life, because you're having to dedicate too much of your mental and physical into survival. Okay, so once your survival is taken care of, now people can really work on what they really need to work on, psychological and spiritually, because you're not worried about just having to survive. Okay, so once your housing is taken care of, once your food is taken care of, and things like that, then you can really start to what? Reflect, self-evaluate, work on the things that you need to work on. So I would say neighborhoods where your housing, okay, and your food is taken care of. You deserve that. You built a lot of infrastructure in this country. You did a lot of sharecropping and farming and working on plantations in this country to eat and things like that, and cultivated the land and all that stuff. So you deserve that for a certain amount of time, in order for you to be able to focus on what you need to focus on, as opposed to survival. Okay, so for one, we have that, and then with that said, people have a certain amount of land. You know what I mean? So you can learn farming and things of that nature, and that's going to be required, or that would be required in the neighborhood. So a lot of things that we learn in our schools, that I always say are things that we don't use in real life. Instead of wasting time with that, our curriculum or your schools would be more so geared towards teaching your kids things like living skills, okay? Everyday living skills within a home, okay? Things like that. You would have agriculture, okay? You would have masonry. You could have masonry, carpentry, trades, things like this. This would be all part of the curriculum. Everybody early on, establishing a foundation where you have basic survival skills. That's things a lot of us came up with balls in our hand, basketballs, footballs, and all that, and we didn't learn any trades. You see what I'm saying? Learning that stuff early on. You know what I mean? So therefore, you can sustain that neighborhood that you have now. Now that you guys have homes and you have your own neighborhood, now you got people who know how to do most basic of things, you know what I mean, in order to tend to your homes and your gardens and your yards and your farms and things of this nature. No? All right? What else would I have? I mean, and that would be the foundation right there, guys. You know what I mean? And then people, and you having to have respect and certain laws, of course, and things like that, and certain things you live by within your community, that's going to help you interact with people, because we have to continue to work on that, right? Treating each other well. So certain things you can and can't do within the community, as we know this, and taking care and policing your own communities, because you want the best environment for you and your family. And now this is your community, so you guys have to come together and take care of it. So you don't have to depend on other people to do it for you, and then you're complaining when they do something that you feel like is against you. Well, if you can police yourselves, you don't have to worry about it, and then you can stand on your own and police your own communities. You know what I mean? But all this is about independence too. So what certain people don't want you to acknowledge is that you get everything for yourself, so you don't have to depend on nobody else. And like I said, it's not about not wanting to interact or mingle or work with other groups of people. It's about learning what you need to learn for yourself, so you don't have to depend on anybody else. See, That's why you are the biggest consumers. People always want you to depend on them for everything that you need. So you can never actually control anything, but you can consume within it. You see what I'm saying? So put yourself in a position where you can control everything because you don't have to depend on anybody else for anything. Right now we're too dependent because we don't necessarily not it's that we know as people who have certain expertise, but I'm talking about collectively. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that we're not versed on, and so therefore we have to depend on other groups of people to supply things for us. You see what I'm saying? So your own community, I would say everybody a home. Give everybody a home and a certain amount of land, and you're required to learn how to tend to that land. You're required to learn how to tend to that home. There'll be things within the community, in a community center, anything that would teach you and your children these things. You have to conduct yourself a certain manner amongst each other, so you can have an environment that's conducive to love and getting along, you know what I mean, and peace of mind and happiness, okay? And like I said, these things over time will become more and more second nature, excuse me, guys. And, you know, and it's less likely that these things have to be something that you have to work on, per se. You know what I mean? But it's better in the long haul. And so that's the thing, guys. And then as far as individual cash, you know, and then funds, so you can start businesses in those communities. So it's basically about the mentality and starting that mentality and getting you guys thinking. Not saying that there's not a lot of people that's not already thinking like this, but thinking of, you know what I mean, not necessarily doing everything for yourself, you know what I mean, but being able to. It's a difference. But being able to break free and be able to do everything that you need to be done, being able to do it for yourselves, and then you can create different coalitions and different, you know, little alliances or whatever in order to expand. And you know what I mean, and to be loved. 'Cause at the end of the day, we want it to always be love. At the end of the day, you want it to all come back to love. But it is certain things you got to get yourself together first before you can love anybody else. And you know, ain't that what they say in relationships? You can't truly love somebody like they need to be loved until you know how to love yourself. Okay? So we got to love on ourselves. But it's not just about a lump sum of money. Okay? Everything needs to be repaired. Not only the amount of money, so we can get the resources and land and things like that we need, but the money for the education as well. But we also, the main thing is you got to sharpen and you have to change the mentality of a lot of people first, so people can be in the right mind frame. Otherwise, all the other stuff is null and void anyway. It's not going to work out anyway. For example, we've had a lot of money for a long time as a people. Okay? We probably still own the least amount of stuff, though. You see what I mean? But we are the biggest consumers. So that's a mentality thing. You see what I mean? All right, guys. Hopefully this was a good video. Is there anything else? Just another one of those feel-good videos with some good content to put you in that mind frame and get you thinking. And hopefully you know your mind is working as well, and you build on stuff like this. You talk about stuff like this to other people, and that's how, you know what I mean, that's how you know, we make it a success, you know what I mean, because we have to think on it and think deep on it, you know what I mean, and unravel different aspects of it, so when that time comes, you know what I mean, we know what to do. All right, peace.